Okay, we are in post production on this podcast, and we have an ad break. Woo! Pierce, say something.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, well, if you haven't heard about Anchor, well, let me tell you, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. It's free. Everything that you need to do is on your phone or computer. And Anchor will distribute everything for you. So you could hear it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can listen to it anywhere. You can make money with it with no minimum listenership. This is the first episode, and I'm already making a couple bucks off this. So this is pretty cool. It's everything you need in an app. So pretty much, if you want to start a podcast, you just put it in. You just download the app. It's all on your phone. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. What do you think, Pierce?
I think that's pretty good.
Okay, this is the free $15 we got. Cool. So this is my first podcast episode. Why did I make a podcast? I think I'm just bored from this quarantine, honestly. So who else would I rather have as my first guest for my first episode? None other than Mr. Pierce Nichols.
Hello.
Now, let's just pretend like this is just a regular phone call just between you and me, because quite honestly, we're only going to get like 2 listeners off of
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
So, Pierce, what is your favorite color?
Okie dokie. That's gonna have to be a yellow from me.
Why is it yellow?
Why is it yellow? I don't know. It used to be red for a really long time, and then I just kind of like realized I was like, wait a minute, I don't like red as much. I like yellow. I think it's just like the peak pastel color, and I love that.
My favorite color is orange, like a sunset orange.
That's pretty. I like that.
And it's like I spell orange with ORENGE. It's like been a joke that I've had forever. And then I would look at sunsets. I'm like, damn, that's a nice orange. I love that color. And like, not a lot of people have a favorite color of orange.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So, like, it makes it unique. And it's like, if I was a color, I'd be orange. It's like kind of out there and weird.
Yeah.
That perfectly describes me. And I think red or yellow works great for you, and yellow's like a really warm color.
Yeah. It's just
okay,
a nice pastel. It's a nice pastel.
Here's this pastel. If you could be anywhere for a vacation, where would it be?
I think I'd have to choose somewhere in Europe, purely because I've always wanted to travel to Europe, and I haven't gotten to yet.
Like, where in Europe would you want to go?
I feel like some sort of like rolling countryside in like France or somewhere. That'd be just super pretty. Somewhere with like lush greenery and just super fun places to go explore. That was actually.
Are you like a...
Am I what?
Are you like a cheese person?
I enjoy
like
I enjoy good cheese. I'd enjoy that, but like. One of the big things, like I decided to go to NYU as opposed to the college in Georgia, but one of the big things that almost made me want to go to Georgia was that they have a really, really good study abroad program, and one of the places that you can study abroad is in Lacoste, France, which is just like this beautiful rolling French countryside with like, and like all the buildings are in like medieval buildings that have been renovated, which just sounds sounds awesome. And a little like I think NYU is definitely the better option, but a little part of me is a little sad I didn't get to go do that.
Is there study abroad programs for NYU?
There are, but especially for a film student, there's a lot less options.
I think that you're gonna stand out there, and like, I've traveled a lot, and I've seen a lot of people, and like, you're just like, you just stand out in a way.
I like to think
and I know
so.
that in New York, especially, you're gonna like, everyone's gonna be like, that Pierce guy, there's just something about him.
That's the hope, at least. At least not too. Hopefully, not stand out in a bad way. That's the hope.
No. Okay, what would you do if you won the lottery? Let's say $1 million. Boom,
Ooh.
ka-ching. Let's say you could get lottery tickets at 18.
Um,
What would you do?
I feel like I should have a really deep response to this, and I kind of do, but I feel like it's just not thought out enough for me to give an amazing answer. I definitely want to not spend, like, are we including how much I'd have to give up in taxes, or
No, $1 million
just $1 million
in your bank
okay.
account. Yes.
Well, I definitely don't need all $1 million. That just seems like excessive. So I feel like what I'd do is try to build up a big studio or something in which I could have a really, really nice place to produce stuff with other people, and get myself, set up. And then whatever I have in excess, I'd either just put into savings for later, or I would give to other people because I don't need that much.
Nice. Oh, I never answered the second question myself. If I could be anywhere for a vacation, I would love to go to like Australia or New Zealand or Tasmania.
Ooh, that's a good one.
And then like on Instagram, I would put a picture of me somewhere but make it upside down. Like, the
Yeah.
meme how everyone in Australia is upside down. And then what would I do if I won the lottery? 10% of it would immediately go into my bank account. So that's what? $100,000 to play with. $100,000 I would also donate straight to like my favorite churches and charities.
Oh yeah.
And then
yeah.
I have $800,000. I'm probably gonna invest all of that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That's what I would do. I wouldn't save any of it. I would just straight up invest it because I have all that leverage. This is the last icebreaker before we get into like the nitty gritty.
Okay.
What is your favorite animal?
I've stood by this for years, and it's a dumb answer, but I stand by it. It's a saber-toothed duck. I don't care that they're not real. It's
what?
It's just a saber-toothed duck, like a duck, except it has
I've
saber
never
tooth.
heard that.
I don't think it's
Like
a real
a duck?
thing. Yeah.
Like a duck with like fang teeth?
Yeah. I don't think it.
Where does that come from?
I don't remember where I heard of it. It's not even a real thing. Like, it never existed. It was never real. But I still consider it my favorite animal, and I don't care that it's not real. It's real in my heart.
That's awesome. Okay. My favorite animal is a penguin because they're only found in Antarctica. And I love the movie Surf's Up. And I love Happy Feet. And I just like something about just like, because if you want to find a penguin, it's an adventure. You have to go to like the most remote place in the whole world.
Yeah, I watched
and then you have to go through all that cold.
I just finished watching a show that was about traveling to Antarctica, and there were penguins in it, and yeah.
One of my life goals, like my life bucket list goals, is to visit the South Pole.
That'd be fun. That'd be a good adventure.
Yeah. And then say, hey, Santa, where you at?
Isn't that the North Pole?
Yeah. If you look on, like, Google Earth, there's, like, no ice at the North Pole.
Yeah.
But there's, like, a ton of ice at the South Pole. Isn't
what
that weird?
gives Santa Claus?
He's invisible. So, let's get into the serious question, Pierce.
Okay.
What is your story?
That's a good question. It all began on a cold day, and no, I'm not gonna tell it like that. But I've grown up in the Midwest for my whole life, and I don't think that I'm like, I like to think that I'm a relatively normal / well-adjusted person, but I have had a fair share of abnormality that led me to where, who I am. I mean, everyone has some sense of abnormality. No one's completely normal, but I like to think that all the things that happened to me were net positives to make me the person I am. If that makes sense. Like, I guess what are the most important things to tell about my life?
Like, what are you all about?
Well, I've grown into a very very artsy person. Take that as you will, how pretentious you think I am. Um, but I think a lot of that was due to I was homeschooled up until 8th grade, so I had a lot. I grew into this sense of independence that I feel like less people have. You know, if you're growing up in a public school, you have a bigger structured education when you're that impressionable at a young age, and I think not having that was really shaped me to be a more independent person. Like I did a lot of schoolwork by myself, and that's translated to nowadays. Like I went to public school in 8th grade, and I think even that was like I stopped being homeschooled, but I think that was also a a mark of independence for me, because after a while I wanted to do my own thing and leave my like siblings and stuff and go do school with like my friends. And so then I grew even more self-sufficient, which I think is a net good thing. I think that's a very large contributing factor of why I'm so creative in the things that I do, if I can be called creative. I think every artist has like a complex over how important they are as a person. That's kind of like a rite of passage for an artist, and you know, you never want to be too cocky. But yeah, I've grown up. I've always been interested in making stuff for other people. Like YouTube was just hitting its stride right when I was old enough to start using the internet. So obviously that's a huge inspiration for how I've progressed. And then, you know, when you don't have a ton to do in the Midwest, you tend to just like mess around with your friends. And what we did when I was younger with a bunch of my friends was just make dumb stuff with cameras and make little dumb short things. And like I just uploaded a video today. I there was like a little video thing in Webkins that I got obsessed with. And then, you know, watching people make YouTube videos and being like, I want to do that too. It all sort of fell into place. Oh, I'm also like a huge theater kid. I've been doing theater since I was like 11. So I feel like all of those factors sort of mixed together towards making me a very, very creative person, and someone who's like hell bent on making stories for other people. And I think that if I were to sum up my identity in like a very short sentence, which I know I didn't do that just now, it took a long time, but if I were to sum it up, it'd be I'm a person who just wants to make stories and entertain people as best he can.
What do you think started that artistic, creative side of you? Because, like, you think of the Midwest, you think of, like, farms and
Yeah.
football. And where do you think that... So, you lived in the Midwest your whole life.
Yeah.
Where do you think started that whole, I want to be an artist and get into theater, you know? Like, where did that start? Where did that come from?
I really think that being homeschooled was a huge part of it. Because I you know, you get thrown into less traditional stuff when you're homeschooled. And like I know many people that are homeschooled, and so a lot of them are the same way as me, and a lot of them are different. So why did I end up the way I did? Part of it's probably how like it sounds trivial, but how like skinny and like wimpy I am. I think that's genuinely a factor, because like, you know, as all my brother and all his friends and a lot of my friends too got in like really into sports and, you know, other like for lack of a better term, like stereotypical stuff. Not that that's bad, just that it's more common. I since I wasn't as naturally inclined to that stuff, I sort of shied away from that and moved more into more creative stuff. And then like we have one of the big things, if you're into it, to do in our town is like the community theater. There's great youth theater options, and then like there's just a really great community theater scene in our town. And so when I was 11, there was a youth theater shows, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and I never done a play before. Actually, no, I had done plays before. We did homeschool plays. Like, we got a bunch of homeschoolers together and did plays. So I had a little bit of theater experience, but then what really kicked it off was this Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. My mom was like, hey, you and your brother and sister want to go audition for this? And we were like, sure, we like that book. We'll be in the play. Why not? We've never done it before. So we went and auditioned, and I really, like, I didn't think I remember going in, I wasn't too invested in it. I was like, oh, whatever happens, whatever happens. But after the audition, I was like, oh, wow, I'm actually really excited. I want to get a good part, and I want to have fun in this show. And then I was cast as Mr. Beaver, who is, he's not like a lead character, but he was a substantial supporting role. And I think that was one of the big things that, it was like the good kind of ego boost that I think I needed at the time. Like, it didn't like make me full of myself or anything, but it got me confident enough in my abilities to really want to pursue it further. And so, like, I kept doing theater, and I think the community theater in our town is one of the biggest things. It's what I've met. It's where I've met a lot of my closest friends, and like it shaped me the most out of anything. And so because of that, and already having a decently strong active imagination as a kid, that all led into me just wanting to make my own stuff. Yeah.
What do you think would say? You talk.
No, you go.
What do you think? How do you think your life would be different if you went to public school from kindergarten?
Oh, it's so hard to, like, any event that happens in anyone's life changes them completely. So it's so hard to imagine what it would be like. I think I would be. I don't think I'd be the same person at all, and I'd like to think I'd be a worse person, if nothing else, just to like convince myself that it was a good thing. Like, I have no reason to think that might be true, but it's nice to think that, oh, I'm the best version of me, even if it's not necessarily true. But I think the stuff I gained from being homeschooled is so integral to why I want to be a creative and why I want to make things for other people. And I think if I had been public schooled, a lot of, like, I think I would have done worse in school. The stereotype is that homeschoolers are huge nerds, and as a former homeschooler, I can say that's true. Like, when I came to public school, not to toot my own horn, but I was like top of the class and everything, and like throughout high school, I remained like generally in that area of remaining like all A's for the most part and everything. So
you got like a 32 on your ACT.
33.
33. Oh my god!
I need that credit for that point. But like, if I do think that I would be less book smart if I had started public school. Call that a diss against the public school system or not, whatever. But I do think that homeschooling was a big factor in why I became so, good at school. Like, there's a lot of things that I'm not good at, probably because I was homeschooled, but in terms of like traditional book knowledge, I'm on top of all that, and that's mostly due to homeschooling. I think that I would be less analytical, because when you're super independent as a young kid, you end up just thinking a lot more about things, I guess. I don't know if that makes sense, but like, if you're by yourself a lot, you have to do a lot more individual problem solving, you end up analyzing the things that you see a little more closely. Maybe I'm not a psychologist. I'm just talking out of whatever. But at least that seems valid to me. I think that I am able to dissect things better and come up with my own answers to questions, especially in terms of like, which that's useful in creative stuff because I'm not so reliant on what exists that's created by other people. I'm able to create stuff of my own, and I think that I don't think that sense would be as strong if I had gone to public school.
Mm-hmm. I think it's really interesting how, with unique circumstances, through people, like, it shapes them. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think I would. There's no way I would be the person I am if I hadn't gone through foster care, if I hadn't joined the military, if I hadn't gone through, like, even my. I was, like, severely depressed for a while in high school. And I think we all kind of were.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I haven't been diagnosed with anything, but I wouldn't be surprised if I had or still have, like, clinical depression. I'm gonna be real.
Oof. Yeah, and, like, it's a real thing and it's struggling.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a huge mental game in your head, but I'm really glad I went through everything I did because it shapes who you are. And I'm glad that you can identify that, because not a lot of, like, I will talk to some people and they'll just say, oh, I don't know, like, oh, I just haven't thought about it.
Oh, yeah. I've thought about it a lot.
Who you are.
I think,
and that's good.
I think if you ask creative people, they'll be more inclined to give a good answer to that, purely because I think from a lot, I can't speak for everyone, but I think a lot of people who want to make stuff want to do that because they're so introspective. Like, all that stuff comes out because you're so analytical of yourself and your surroundings. And if you weren't so analytical, you wouldn't be so inclined to want to make stuff, I don't think.
Interesting. Are you more of an introvert or extrovert?
I'm definitely an extrovert. I struggled. I kind of struggle with the definitions of those a little bit, because anyone who claims that they only want to be around people and that they never want alone time, I think is not being fully honest with themselves. But I definitely think that I need to be around people more often than not is my answer. And which it's a big thing with me that part of me doesn't like that. Like, I think introverts get a lot of, like, the problems of introverts get a lot more attention, just because, I don't know, it's more relatable and more obvious how, like, it can affect people, like the whole wanting to stay inside when everyone else is doing stuff. That's a whole stereotype. But, like, I think extrovert problems are should be looked at more, because I know personally I struggled with this and continue to struggle with this, where it would be anytime spending time with my friends and being with other people would be a huge great thing, and I'd feel great when it was happening, and then the second like I had to leave, go home, or stop it'd feel like the hole in my, like, chest came back and I couldn't fill it. And which sucks because it's not fair. Like, obviously you can't be around all your friends all the time. You have to, go home and be with yourself. And so I think that problem, could use a little more light in the public eye of how extroverts deal with this feeling of needing other people, even when you've had, like, I've even if I have sufficient contact with other people, I still need more, and that's frustrating to me. But also, as an extrovert, like, and as a person who wants to make creative stuff, I need a lot of alone time too, which kind of is counterintuitive.
Huh.
But I don't know. I think everyone's a mix. No one's perfectly an extrovert or an introvert.
I'm like a extroverted introvert.
Yeah.
Like I like people, but for like it's so with the quarantine, like it hasn't bothered me until like recently.
Oh yeah.
It's like the past couple months I've been like, oh, this sucks, and now I'm like, okay, let's like get the ball rolling, and now like the lights at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, like
But
I'm similar because I've gone through waves of quarantine of not dealing with it well and then dealing with it well. I think extrovert and introvert doesn't really describe people's situations fully well enough because everyone has different needs at different times. Like for me, when I want to be with friends, when I want to have that social interaction, then I'm an extrovert. But when I get into the zone of doing my own work and doing my own like projects or writing or whatever, then I tend to block out everyone else, and not as like
yeah.
like that sounded more negative than it was. Like I just tend to not need as much contact with other people while I'm doing that stuff, and I think that everyone has people can change their needs based on their emotional response to whatever situation they're in. And so while that may mean that some people tend to be more inclined to be with other people and other people tend to incline to be by themselves more, everyone has their situations where that changes.
Pierce, how do we know each other?
Oh, let's get into that. I want to tell you from my perspective the story of how we met because
Okay.
I still find it kind of funny and I still don't 100% understand it. But 8th grade, it was the first time I was going to public school. I got on the bus for the first time. I'm gonna be honest.
No, it was before that.
No, it was not. It was not.
Really?
I remember
What?
this very clearly because I've thought about it a lot.
Okay.
It's so funny. It was the first time because you had moved to our area that summer, so I had never met you before.
From California.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were on the bus for the first time. I was honestly a little terrified. Like I had made the choice to go to public school, but it being real and having to get on the bus for the first time was really scary. But like Darren and Alex were on the bus, so I had friends. And what we did is I brought my 3DS because I had a feeling that we would probably play games on the bus. Me, Darren, and Alex, I had known them before I went to public school. We started to play Super Smash Brothers for the Nintendo 3DS. And lo and behold, this high school kid gets on the bus at some point in time and sees that we're playing Super Smash Brothers and asks us if he can play. And from my perspective, like that you seemed so I don't know what it was, but like the way you acted made me think that like you were already friends with Darren and Alex. Because I knew
What?
I don't know like I knew Darren and Alex and a few other people from the school, but I didn't know everybody, and I knew that they had friends that I didn't know. But like so for some reason when I saw you like just nonchalantly start joining our games, I just assumed that Darren and Alex already knew you. But that wasn't true. You were meeting all of us for the first time in that moment.
I just acted like I knew you guys.
It's not that you acted. It's just that you like, you didn't like bother to go through like Like we didn't go through like introducing everybody.
Oh.
I think you like I asked who you were and you said you were Eric, but I don't think you went like, "Hi, my name is Eric Brown. Nice to meet you. Can I play Smash Brothers with you?" It was more like, "Hey, I'm gonna join." And like it was so casual.
Sounds like a me thing.
It was, yeah.
Oh,
it was so
interesting.
casual that I like just assumed that you were already acquainted with them. And then like
that is so interesting.
So you were in the high school, we were in the middle school. So I didn't see you during school. I only saw you on the bus.
Yeah, I was a sophomore, but I was very prepubescent, so I could have passed as an eighth
Oh
grader
yeah,
even. I was a sophomore.
the only reason I thought you were a freshman, and the only reason I didn't think you were in 8th grade is because obviously you weren't in the same school as me.
Yeah, everyone thought I was a freshman. That was
Yeah,
hilarious.
but then the next time I saw you, because that was when me, Darren, Alex, and you were still in Boy Scouts, and lo and
Yes.
behold, the next scout meeting that we had was the first scout meeting that you were in our new where you were in the troop. You were in the troop the next meeting.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
like our school always starts on a Thursday. For some reason,
Okay.
like you do Thursday and Friday, and this was the same in 8th grade. So we had like 2 days on the bus where we played Smash. I don't think I don't think in those 2 days I figured out that you weren't already friends of Darren and Alex. I don't think I had figured that out yet. I vaguely knew you, and then like the next day or whatever, I go to scouts like I did every week, and then you were there. It was
Oh my
I was
gosh.
like, wait a minute, and then that's where I realized that you weren't already friends with Darren and Alex, cause like me, Darren, and Alex were hanging out at Scouts, and then we see you, and all of us were like, wait a minute, it's that guy. And I was like, wait, you guys didn't already know him? And then we slowly became friends after that.
What?
Yeah.
I thought Scouts was in the summer.
No. Because I remember seeing you at Scouts and being like, it's the guy who played Smash Brothers on the bus with us. Dang.
So I thought we met through Scouts during the summer, and then it was the bus.
No, I'm pretty sure it was just the bus. And then we ended up doing Scouts together after that. And then like our friendship grew just cuz like we hung out with you on the bus every day. And then you started to like
We were in
become
Scouts.
like actually hang out with us in outside of the bus, which it took a while, but eventually we got there. And then
bus.
and then we had high school together, which was a wild ride.
That was very wild.
Speaking of
That
high
was
school,
very wild.
I finished my last high school assignment yesterday.
So you're done with high
I
school?
am done with high school as of today.
I've known you your whole entire high school journey.
Exactly. I guess
That's insane.
I still have AP tests to take, but I get to pick up my diploma tomorrow. So I am like a high school graduate now.
Congratulations, you have
I did it, apparently.
just done it. Guess what? Your life is just starting now.
Heck yeah.
That's insane. It's just starting. Oh, you have so much ahead of you, Pierce.
I'm very excited.
So much. But this is a clean slate now.
Heck yeah.
It's not like it's like when you started high school. It's like, yeah, it's a clean slate, and then sophomore year, like, oh hey, Pierce is like that, just like that. You just hit another clean slate. You're gonna go to New York. No one's gonna know you, so it's gonna be just like how we met.
Oh.
So
Except
that's interesting.
probably with less Super Smash Brothers for the 3DS.
But that's how I make friends. Is like I
Yeah.
just go up to people, and I'm like, hey, I'm here. It's like when you go to the park. It's like you see kids playing. It's like
Yeah.
they just join together. It's not like awkward or anything like that. It's just like, okay, you're with us now. Okay, let's just go along with it. I guess that's how I've always been, like, just like very childish like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a bad way to go. Like I can definitely see how like the Switch and Smash Bros Ultimate can still be like a catalyst for friendship even when you're not like 12. Like if I saw
Yeah.
someone playing Smash in a dorm, I'd walk up to him and be like, I want to get the next game, and that's that's how friendships start.
Boom. And like, hey, what are you doing? Let's go get pizza in New York. And then it's like, oh, you like this too? No way. High five. And then you click.
Yeah, I
Once
mean
that click happens, oh, it's game over.
that's essentially what happened like in my summer camp in San Francisco last year. Like we all, no one knew anybody, and then we all were just like, you want to like do stuff together, and it worked out. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. That does not stop at college. It doesn't stop at high school. It is forever.
Heck yeah.
And once you learn those skills and you learn those tools, like, you could go anywhere and be like, I'm going to find my group of people. I'm going to find my tribe. I'm going to find my gang. I'm just going to, like, yeah, just grow.
Yeah. This whole like it feels weird to be ending high school like this. Like I'm not one
I
to
bet it does.
I'm not one to get super like, I know a ton of people are getting super like sentimental over missing out on the ending of their senior year. I'm not as much into that. In terms of how emotionally invested I was in physically being at the building, it really didn't matter to me that much that we stopped getting to go to school. Like, I missed prom, and I was probably one of the few people that did not really care that happened. But even then, like, this last like few months, realizing that high school's ending on this term has been odd, and it's been a different kind of introspective, because I have to, be ending with just myself. And because of that, I've had a lot more time to think about what that means for me. And I think that's an interesting byproduct of what's happened with the quarantine and everything.
I had a question. I forgot. I was just thinking about something while you were talking, and then I keep going with what you say. That's why I was writing some things down. So, what is your favorite memory of us? I know what it is.
There's a lot of good ones. I feel like I need an hour to like anytime I get asked like a favorite memory, I feel like I need like a long time to like sit and think of all the memories. But one that comes to mind that's a pretty good memory, if not necessarily my favorite due to, lack of sufficient memory, is
it what I think it is?
us on the roof of the church.
I knew it!
Yeah! I thought that
I knew you were going to say
that.
I
thought that was going to be what you thought. Yeah, that's just one of my favorite moments, because it was just I remember we were friends. We were friends before that, obviously. And then we started going to youth group together occasionally. You'd come with us.
Yeah.
And then, I had friends at the church, but a lot of my friends were not the same group of people as like my siblings' friends, and because of that, like, neither of us had any super close relationship with anybody there, and because of that, it was just kind of us. And then, when everyone hangs out after, we just kind of hung out together, and we ended up going onto the roof of the church because that's fun to do, and we just sat up there and we talked a lot. I think that was a tipping point in our relationship, because we shared some more. I think that was the first time that we shared a little bit more personal stuff with each other, and yeah, we really got to know each other a lot better there. And we've changed a lot as people since then, both of us.
Oh,
extremely, but it was still an important tipping point.
Huh.
Either that would be my favorite, or my trip to Omaha to visit you would be my favorite.
Oh, that was so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. Which one was that? Was that before?
That was right before you left for basic.
Oh my gosh, I knew. Oh my gosh, yeah, I remember that day.
Yeah.
And then we cooked, and then we finished Shovel Knight.
Tacos. We came full circle on our Shovel Knight playthrough.
And then we talked with he wasn't a therapist, he was a counselor.
Yeah, I think
he was just like a life coach.
Yeah, that was a nice nice time. And I got to see more of Omaha than I got to see you before you went off to basic, which was great. I got to,
Oh,
get a better insider view of Omaha. I got to see a lot of things that I still like every time I go to Omaha, I'm like, oh, we gotta go to Ikasan, we gotta go to
yes.
Sozo Coffee
Oh,
House,
yes.
we gotta go to the
The
candy
coolest place.
store, we gotta go to the thrift
Yes.
shop, and it's because of that trip, and so I got to see all the cool things in Omaha that I hadn't like. I've been to Omaha many times, but I hadn't seen it like that before. That was great. I got to see you. We got to do a lot of fun stuff. We just gotta have a genuinely good couple of days of catching up and hanging out.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that. And a lot of it was like symbolic for a lot of different things because I didn't, for some things in my life, I just didn't have closure.
Yeah.
And like that, I needed that before I went into another chapter, so
Yeah.
it's not like overflowing.
Mhm.
That was that was awesome. Oh, what were some other things? Like whenever I think of like things that we did together, I think of some Boy Scout things.
Oh yeah.
Uh remember your birthday?
Which one?
And it was my senior year and like everyone was in that
Oh
canal.
yeah. With the duck.
Everyone was in that
That
canal.
was
That was
that's
really
a great
cool.
memory. The duck. I'm so sad that duck. We had this giant inflatable duck, and
I remember that.
it
And we all tried to climb on it.
yeah, and it broke. Rest in peace, the duck. I don't think it broke from that, but it has since broken.
Hmm. So, all those cool nooks and crannies in Omaha?
Yeah,
And that's what makes every city like so unique. That's why
yeah,
people are
yeah.
so like Chicago or like LA or in your case New
New
York, and
York.
it's so enigmatic. Like
Yeah.
it's the people, and then it's places that open, and it's the people in those places, and it's the things they have, and then it's like so I was at a store yesterday. So yesterday I was with a friend from work. We woke up early and we put some bikes in the trunk of my Jeep, and then we drove to Boise, and then we filled up the tires, and then we just biked around. So there's this thing called the Green Belt. So there's a river that runs through the city and through the campus and through this big park, and then there was like uh imagine like a wide sidewalk, and
Okay.
it's like a road where it's got like a yellow dashed line in between. So it's like I see. It was Wednesday morning. There wasn't a whole lot of people, but I was there Sunday as well. And there's like, people will walk their dogs or go on a run or ride their bikes or roller skate or whatever. And it just goes through the river and it goes through the city. And it was like the coolest thing. And then we went to this cool, super cool store. It's like the zero waste store. So like I had a couple of empty clean jars, and like I got a jar full of dried cranberries because I love dried cranberries, and then like things like that. And like I met these cool people, and I was like saying, "Hey, what's cool around here? Like, what's the best? Like, I don't know, what's the best taco place? What's the best pizza joint? What's the best? Like, what's happening? And they'll be like, "Oh, this is what's cool," and knowing the locals in the area is really cool. So when you go to New York, like there's just going to be so much, and there's a lot of underground things as well, like physically underground. There's a whole underground city underneath New York in a way as
Yeah.
well.
I'm kind of excited because, like, I'm by no means a New York local, like in any stretch of the word, but I have like my aunt lives very very close to the city, about an hour train ride out, and so
Oh,
like, and she's my mom's like best friend, so
oh,
we visited New
is she
York.
your like?
Is she what?
Is she your aunt, or is she just like your mom's best friend and you just call her aunt?
She's no, she's like my mom's sister.
Oh,
But
but
they're
best
like
friend as
best
well.
friends. Yeah. Like,
Oh, okay, cool, cool.
and so because of that, because she's lived out there, we've like since I was little, we've been going out on a decent amount of trips out there, and we visited the city. So I think I have a little bit of leg up on anyone who like is completely foreign to the city, because I know it's still completely new to me, but I have been there many times before. There are like a few places that are a little nostalgic to me there, and so I'm excited to like be around there and discover new things, and also have those little nuggets that I already have out there.
This like the scene for a movie. Boy from small town in the Midwest goes to big city in hopes of dreams. Girl from uh I don't know moves moves to the city. They both literally run into each other. Oh, I'm sorry. Is your knee okay? You jerk. It's Pierce Nichols. It's name of the girl in New York Love. I don't know.
Greenlit. I love the pitch. Greenlit. Give me a pilot by next month.
Okay. Will do.
Beautiful.
This is the last question, and this is one of the most important questions. And I did a lot of thinking about these short podcast questions. They're only like 8 questions, but I asked you way more than 8 questions.
Yeah.
You hit most of the points. This is the last and most important question. If you were on your deathbed, how would that look like? Who would be there, and how would you want to be remembered?
I
Deep, I know.
I've thought about this a decent amount. Actually, I don't know. I'm fascinated with legacy, I guess, and a little bit about like what death means and what
Hamilton.
What it means. Yeah, a lot of the themes from Hamilton. But I think, are we talking like purely like before I die or after or both?
You are like 90 years old. You're old. You're about to die. Who's there? How would that look like? Who would be there? How would you want to be remembered? Imagine, you're on the bed. I'm old.
I think and I don't know obviously who's gonna be like my close friends at that point in time. Like obviously that's many years away, but I would hope that a lot of the friends that I have now and any of the new friends I meet along the way, I'd want to see as many of them as I possibly can before I go, and just experience that. Like we talked about earlier, I need to be around people, and I feel like even on my deathbed, that still remain to be true. I wouldn't want to leave the world without getting a last piece of time with the people I really care about, whether that be family or all my friends. I think I've thought a lot about what I would want to happen after my death, and one of the big inspirations for that is I watched this YouTube like documentary series about Jim Henson, and he's like, if I had to pick one person who's like the type of person as a creator that I aspire to be, it's him. Just because what he made is such a beautiful thing, and how much it impacted so many people is just so inspiring. And his funeral really speaks to me because it was less about mourning his loss, and it was really a gathering of everybody whose lives he impacted together. And I think a lot of people talk about like, oh, I want my funeral to be a celebration of my life rather than a memory or like a sad day. But like, although I don't think a lot of people have a clear picture of what that means. I've joked about it with a few people, but like I'd love it if my friends would sing some songs, have good memories, and really like just remember me in the positive ways that hopefully I've affected people. I guess that'd be null and void if somehow in the future I end up being a terrible person, but we're gonna hope that doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
I think the legacy I really want to leave is, at least as of now, my ultimate goal is to just create as much as possible that genuinely makes people happy in some way. And I think if I'm able to do that enough, I want to leave that impression on people. I want people to remember me as someone who inspired them to put some more good into the world through whatever they do, whether that be, creating themselves or whatever else. Not everyone's a writer or whatever. But there's so many people like Jim Henson, and not as grandiose people like a bunch of YouTubers and other actors, blah blah blah, whatever, creative people that have inspired me so much and have shaped me into being the person that I want to be, that my only hope is that I can be that same sort of inspiration for other people. And if I want to be that sort of inspiration, then I want to make sure that I'm a very positive inspiration, and that the legacy I leave behind is nothing but a spur to younger people to want to make good things in the world and to lift other people up. And I don't know, there's so many things that can be made as a creator, and I think the things that I gravitate to the most are just things that are just completely pure. Like, when you watch them, you end up leaving with a sense of just serenity and how, I don't know, it's hard to describe. Like, I
know what you mean.
I'm not just talking about like happy-go-lucky stuff. Like, there can be stuff with deep pain in it that still is the same way, but just, the sense of purity in creation and pure unadulterated vision and intent behind creating something that is meant to be shared with other people. And I just want to inspire that level of appreciation for the world and appreciation for other people. And it's as complicated as that and as simple as that. I want to leave people happier than they were before they encountered me and the stuff I make, and I want to inspire people to do the same. And yeah.
That's very mature for anyone to say. It's even more mature, especially for a teenager to say.
Yeah, I mean, you always have to. You can't get caught up in the future too much in order to blind you to the present. But I do think that thinking about the future and thinking about who you want to be in the future and how you want to leave it is important at like any stage in order to dictate your decisions and how you want to go forward and how you want to progress towards being the best version of that future self that you envision that you can be.
Is there anything else that's on your mind, Pierce? Is there anything else that you want to say to your future self or to like the world, for example? Actually, no, to your future self. Is there anything you want to say to your future self?
There's always things I want to say to my future self. If I had to pick a few things, one of them would be, hey, did you ever finish that puppet idea you were working on? How'd that go over? Little piece of crap. Yeah, you ever finish that? And in less making fun of myself. I don't know. Do you think you have done well so far? That's my big question to future me. Like, you know, if future me is listening to this, they've heard me spill my ambitions and my goals in a lot of detail here, and you know, do you think you're doing well? Do you think that you're leaving something worthwhile, and are you proud of yourself? That's my big questions to future me. Also, the puppet thing. Get on the puppet thing. I want you to do that, because that'd be cool.
The puppet thing.
I can't tell you what that is, because I want to make it, and then hopefully you'll know what it is someday. But
dang it. Okay. Now, the thing is, I'm going to do another podcast episode with you, maybe 6 months later, maybe a year later. And then we're going to see, like, what's different.
Okay.
What's changed, you know?
Heck yeah.
And, so that concludes everything in the podcast. We talked for, like, an hour, and that was really good. Now it's time for the after show.
Yeah.
Did you watch Minimalism?
I haven't yet. I was working on the video all day yesterday.
All right, the after show has been canceled. That was gonna be the after show. Dang it!
I was planning on it, but then I didn't realize how much more work I had to do on the Webkins video.
Yeah, you just uploaded that
Well,
hours ago.
I scheduled it like late at night last night, and then went to bed with it uploading. But yeah,
I'll definitely watch it.
Heck yeah, I'm proud of it. I hope people like it.
It's a good 20 minutes. So okay, like my film style is like short and sweet. It's like if it's like 10 minutes is long for me.
Oh yeah, I mean like,
and then like
it depends on like the content, I guess. Like I can do a lot of short stuff too, but then you know if
like you have your songs,
if the project requires it, then
you dropped your heart,
then it'll be longer. Yeah, like especially right now with my own capabilities, any short films or like I have a bunch of skit ideas that'll be shorter, but then every once in a while there's a project like the Webkins video where it's just a fun idea that I wanted to do, and like the Webkins video is like a challenge I made for myself about trying to accomplish this one thing, and so the whole video is about like the process I went through to try to do the challenge, and so that's you know longer because it goes over a whole process, whereas like a skit or a song or a short film is a lot more succinct, a lot shorter. But you know, I enjoy both types of content, so
it's a good portfolio.
Heck yeah.
I'm looking at your YouTube right now, and every video is averaged like 20 minutes long.
Yeah.
And like I can't do that. That would take me forever. I would like edit half the video and be like, this is stupid, and I would just stop. So like
I've definitely done
like
that.
yeah, for you it's like, and you have like the weirdest videos like Kerploosh, which is this random game for the 3DS no one knows about.
Mm-hmm.
FIFA Soccer 2013. Oh, that was
I mean that
Backyard.
The game series is interesting because that's the oldest stuff that I'm willing to leave up, but I don't know how convinced I am on the quality of those. I don't think that they're very good in hindsight, but you know,
3 years ago.
Yeah,
Backyard Sports 2005.
And the longer stuff definitely takes me like a long time to do. Like all the old game videos took me months upon months, and part of that is just like me not committing to sitting down and finishing it, but other parts of that are just genuinely the work it takes. But like the Webkins video, I did a pretty consistent amount of work, and I guess you can throw in that I still had school to do for it.
Yeah.
But it took me
you also do a lot of editing.
It took me 3 weeks to make that video. Like,
that's really good. That's good. Wow.
And while that is a long time, it is one of the best like turnaround times I've had on that length of a video. So
Yeah.
take that as you will.
If I have to edit a video more than like a couple days, that's I can't do that. And like for you, you put a lot of work into like every second in your videos are like jam packed with something. It's like, whoa. So you're editing not just 20 minutes, but it's 20 minutes and like every second is
Mhm.
like in your face.
Yeah.
And then like for me, when I film, it's just like I record and then I put it through Premiere Elements and I just cut and add music and maybe add a cross dissolve. Ooh, if I'm feeling frisky, I'll add a cross dissolve. And that's it with my editing.
Yeah, I mean, it just comes
So,
through practice.
yeah.
I think the oldest stuff is the oldest video on my channel is the Kersploosh video. There is 3 years of other stuff that is on the channel that is just unlisted because I took it off. And
Yeah.
like I think as of January I had been doing YouTube on and off for 5 years, and I guess that's really it. Like if I hadn't done all the practice and all the effort, I wouldn't be where I am now. But it is tedious in the moment, like editing. Like I definitely, almost any video, if I was in the mood, could probably finish in 2 days if I constantly worked on it. But it's hard to do that because you get mentally exhausted, creatively exhausted, all that jazz.
Yeah.
Like the Webkins video, there's some of the stuff I had to do for that video. It took me 3 days to edit 3 minutes of footage. And that was a good 5 hours of work a day, if not more.
Oh my gosh.
And it's tedious. But
how much time total? How much time total did you?
Ooh, I really should document my work time for this stuff. That might be a nice thing to have for next time. But if I were to ballpark, it took me, the total amount of like recorded footage I had was close to 3.5 to 4 hours. So we have that
into 20 minutes
plus a good 15, 20 more hours on that part, and then a good 10 more hours on that. It takes a good 50 or so hours 40 to 50 hours to make a video of that length.
So with the thumbnail of Webkin's cinematic masterpiece, did you wear a tux? Did you wear a suit?
Oh no, I just looked up man holding an Oscar, and then I just like put my face on top of it.
How did you? Because the lighting looks as if like it's real.
Oh yeah, I think that's just like luck. Like I definitely could have edited the lighting, but I didn't. I just happened, my skin tone and the lighting of the frame of the video I took out happened to look pretty good.
Could you please send me the actual selfie you had to take for
I didn't take a selfie. I just took a frame of the video and exported it as like a photo,
okay.
and then I edited it like that.
Oh, okay. Well, I will go on the hunt and look for that.
It's towards the end.
I'm gonna be dissecting that. Oh well, thank you for telling me it's towards the end.
Yeah, I can't remember where.
All right, all right, Pierce. That's it for the podcast.
Heck yeah! Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for being on the first episode of my podcast, and the fact that everyone has a podcast nowadays, and everyone has a YouTube channel, and I don't feel special, but
that's okay.
I mean, it helps me. It makes it's not really, the podcast isn't really for other people. It's like a journal.
Yeah.
It's and that's what my YouTube channel is. It's a journal. And the thing is, like, YouTube is free, unlimited online video cloud storage.
Yeah.
If you're really thinking about it, I have a bunch of little random clips on my YouTube channel, and they're public, for public scrutinization. And the thing is, you can access it anywhere and download it anytime, and it's free, and unlimited. I'm surprised that people haven't figured out that loophole. Like, I
Yeah, I
have
didn't
no
think about
videos
that.
on my Google Drive. It's all and like all my photos are my Google Photos. So the only thing I have on my Google Drive are just texts. I don't
Yeah,
have any
yeah.
photos.
That makes sense. I
I don't have
guess
any
you have to
videos.
deal with like compression quality from YouTube, but if you're okay with that, it's just upload
It's just
unlisted
1080.
videos and then and then you have a free cloud storage.
Yeah, that's what's up. Okay, Pierce, that's all. And then we got to figure out how to merge the clips. So
Heck
let's
yeah.
get that. I'm gonna hang up the call. Thank you so
Okie
much,
dokie.
Pierce. Boy.